So in the last chapter we have seen the what is immunity and what are the types of immunity, and in types of immunity, natural and adaptive. So coming to the types of adaptive immunity or types of acquired immunity, there are mainly of two types, which is active immunity and passive immunity. So coming to the active immunity, antibodies that develop in person's own immune system after the body is exposed to an antigen, and this type of immunity lasts for a long time. And this active immunity will have the direct response to the foreign antigen with the body, and this is a act as direct result of the active immune system, and it mainly occurs when we are in contact with the pathogen or its antigen. So it is active. Once the pathogen attacks our body, it just releases the antibodies in the active state, and it mainly involves in contact and brings the immunity for our body. So coming to the passive immunity, it mainly involves the immune response by the antibodies attained from outside the body. So not as inside the body, it gain or attained from outside the body. So antibodies given to the person to prevent the disease or to treat disease after the body is exposed to an antigen. And passive immunity is given from mother to child through placenta before birth and through breast milk after birth. So passive immunity transferred from during the pregnancy time through placenta, the immunity will pass from mother to child, and after birth that immunity is transformed through the breast milk to the body, and it is also be given medically or through blood products or through vaccines that contains the antibodies. And this type of immunity is fast acting but only few weeks or months. So for an effective vaccination, there is some doses given for the child. So it lasts long for only few weeks or months, and when it is implemented, it develops immediately, and our body could begin its attacks on this pathogen right away. So this is passive immunity. And coming to the flow chart, active immunity is of two types, natural and artificial, and passive immunity is of two types, natural and artificial. So natural, antibodies developed in response to an infection is natural. Antibodies developed in response to vaccination is artificial. So active natural immunity and active artificial immunity. So coming to the passive, natural, antibodies received from mother to breast milk, whereas artificial antibodies are received from medicine, from the gamma globulin injection of the infection. So it is mainly done through the vaccination. So next, coming to the adaptive immune response, there are of two types. One is humoral immunity and another one is cell mediated immunity. So humoral immunity, it is the antibody mediated response that carries foreign material antigens and it just detected in our body. So this mechanism is primarily driven by B lymphocytes or B cells and mainly involves in the production of antibodies, as I said before, for the detection of the specific antigen. And coming to the cell mediated immunity, unlike humoral immunity, cell mediated immunity does not depend on antibodies, where it mainly depends upon the T cells. So T cells, cell mediated immunity is primarily driven by mature T cells, macrophages, and the release of cytokines to an antigen. So these are all the diagrammatic representation. Once the foreign body or foreign antigen that enters into our body and it passes through the macrophages, and it helps the helper T cells will help the CD4 cells, whether it is mediated by the cytokines in the cells, whereas in B cells it produces the antibodies, and this is B cells, antibodies is humoral mediated cell response, wherein it comes to cytotoxic T cell and with thus activate the cytotoxic T cell. This comes under the cell mediated immune response. Thank you.